I used to house sit for a family friend during my college summers to make some extra cash. It was usually an easy gig, watering plants, grabbing the mail, feeding their cat, and just being there so the house wasn't empty. The family was nice, and their house was this big, older place just on the edge of town. Quiet, kind of tucked into some woods. One summer, they were heading out of the country for 3 weeks and asked me to house sit again. They were a little more anxious than usual, which I figured was just travel stress. But the wife pulled me aside before they left and said, "Don't go into the basement. The lights are broken down there, and it's easy to trip over things." Fair enough. No reason for me to go down there anyway. Everything was pretty normal for the first couple of days. The house had that old wood smell, a little creaky but cozy. I spent most of my time on the second floor, reading or watching Netflix in the evenings. Their cat, Moxie, kept mostly to herself. She was skittish, always darting into corners or staring at random things. But she was like that even when they were home. One night, maybe 4 or 5 days in, I woke up to this weird sound. It wasn't loud. More like a soft dragging noise, like furniture being slowly pulled across a wooden floor. I sat up, listened for a second, and it stopped. Figured maybe it was Moxie playing with something. But when I got up to check, she was curled in a ball at the foot of the bed, wide awake, ears perked, staring at the bedroom door. The next morning, I noticed the rocking chair in the upstairs guest room had moved. Not by a lot, but it was angled differently. That gave me pause, because I hadn't gone into that room at all. I chalked it up to my own memory playing tricks on me. Still, I pushed it back into the corner. Later that day, while I was in the kitchen, I heard footsteps upstairs. Not loud, more like pacing. I froze. The only thing up there was my room and the guest room. I grabbed the closest thing I could find, which happened to be a broom, and slowly made my way up the stairs, trying not to panic. When I reached the top, the footsteps had stopped. I checked both rooms. Nothing. The windows were shut and locked. Moxie was under the bed. The house was silent again. That night, I double-checked every door and window, locked them all, left a few lights on. I was starting to feel like maybe the house was just messing with me. Around midnight, I heard something that chilled me to my core. A whisper. Not a word I could make out, just this soft, strained voice coming from downstairs, repeating something over and over. I sat up, heart pounding, straining to hear. It kept going, like a chant, or someone talking to themselves. I didn't want to go downstairs. I really didn't. But I couldn't ignore it either. I crept down the staircase slowly, one hand on the banister, holding my breath. The whispering continued. It was coming from the basement door, which was cracked open. I never opened that door. I stood there for a long time just listening. The whispering finally stopped. I backed away, grabbed Moxie, and locked myself in the bedroom for the rest of the night. The next morning, I told myself I was done. I'd call the homeowners and say something came up, make up an excuse. But before I could, something even stranger happened. I went to grab the mail, and there was a small envelope tucked into the mailbox. Not addressed to the owners, not stamped. Just my name on the front, in pencil. Inside was a single note. "Stop moving the chair." My stomach dropped. I hadn't told anyone about the chair. I hadn't even mentioned it to the homeowners. I checked around the property, but there was no sign of anyone nearby. The woods were still, the street was empty. I put the note back in the envelope and locked every door and window again. That evening, I didn't leave the upstairs. I could barely sleep. The next day, I got a text from the homeowner. "Hey, just checking in. Everything okay?" I didn't know how to respond. I didn't want to freak them out if this was something they already knew about, in some twisted way. So I just replied, "All good here. House is quiet." That night, I was brushing my teeth when I heard a loud bang from downstairs, like something heavy fell. Then Moxie hissed, loud and furious, and darted out of the bathroom. I ran after her. She was growling at the top of the basement steps, tail puffed, hackles raised. I peeked down the stairs. The light, which shouldn't have even worked, was on. A dim yellow bulb, swinging slightly from the ceiling. The basement door slammed shut in front of me. That was it. I called my older brother, asked him to come pick me up. I left a note for the homeowners and told them I'd explain later. I didn't go back to that house. When they came back and I finally told them everything, they didn't seem surprised. They just said, "We've had weird things happen, but never anything dangerous." I asked them about the basement. They just looked at each other. The husband said quietly, "The people who lived here before us lost a daughter. She used to sit in that rocking chair by the window. She fell down the basement stairs when she was 6. I haven't house sat since